Welcome back to Chicago Football Now. You know, folks, the NFL has long had its eye on London as a special destination, not only to play preseason and now regular season games, but as a potential permanent home for an NFL franchise. The strategy would allow the NFL to expand its broadcast, marketing, and licensing arms overseas. Now, Fred Weintraub is the executive producer of live sports content for Weigel Broadcasting and U2 Sports, and Fred lives for a good part of the year in London. He's been good enough to stop by and visit with us today. And Fred, first off, I know you've been to games here. Have you been to an NFL game in London? How is it different? What's it like?
Yes, I have been to NFL games in London, and it really is different because you walk into the stadium, and so far the games have just been at Wembley. And Wembley, of course, you know, is this iconic sports stadium, but many things have taken place there, from sports to the king to the queen speaking to soccer. So you go into the stadium, and as you're walking in, you get a different kind of vibe, and the vibe really is unlike a vibe at like Soldier Field where you're tailgating beforehand and you walk in. They don't really know about tailgating in the same way that we do in America. So it's more of what a vibe of a Super Bowl would be like, because the NFL has set up big tents and big areas where you can get the NFL experience. Mm-hmm. And so you walk in, and of course, the difference is if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you're wearing your Bears jersey. Well, there, you don't exactly know what you're a fan of. You know that it might be the team like the Jaguars who are playing. So you go out and you grab a jersey, or you grab a scarf, which is really big in London. Then once you get into the stadium, you go in and you look and you go, is this supposed to be a soccer stadium or a football stadium? And you realize they've, in a great way, they've transformed it into a football stadium that looks like any NFL stadium.
All right, now for a long time it was one game, then it was two, now three. There are 3 games scheduled for this year, and a little bit of a different twist. The middle game won't be at Wembley. They're going to Twickenham. Tell us about Twickenham.
Twickenham. So Twickenham is also a train ride. It's about a 20-minute train ride outside of London. I would describe it as more of a blue-collar kind of area. What's interesting is it is also the home of rugby. And so strategically, I think the NFL is trying to get a feel as to how is this going to play in different neighborhoods. Anyone can go to Wembley and see a game, but as they branch out over the next few years, I think the NFL wants to figure out, does football really work? But the big question that I think needs to be answered is, and that they're struggling with, is the NFL, American football, a global sport, or is it just the love that we have as Americans and Europeans don't really care about it?
Let's call this what it really is. We've only got about 30, 40 seconds left. But the bottom line, NFL has said no team in London permanently until at least 2022. There may never be. They hope that fans will travel over to see these games. But the big deal that they're looking for is the licensing money, the broadcast rights. That's where the revenue is for the NFL in London and Europe.
That's all this is about, is money. If they can't fill the 80-person stadium on a regular basis, if they can't get a good team in there that can win, it's never going to fly. It's interesting to be able to come from different parts of Europe to see some of these events, but to fill it and to get a fan base like you have in Chicago, like you have in San Francisco, like you have with the Patriots, it's a whole different mentality. And so as you look over the next 5 years, it'll be interesting to see if this can really work.
And that's all about having it work in London and Europe. You've also got the logistical nightmares of other NFL teams having to go back and forth and travel. You've got to have multiple buys. There are all kinds of challenges that come with putting a team in London. For now, it is these occasional exhibitions. It is getting regular season games over there and trying to figure out a way to get the good teams over there too. Fred, thank you so much for stopping by, and thanks to all of you for watching Chicago Football Now. Don't forget to check us out 24/7 online at chicagofootball.com and at WCIU.com/sports. We'll see you all next week with our Super Bowl special here at Chicago Football Now.